we were just talking about how there were some sound issues on the last episode. I got a ton of DMs and text messages.
Yeah.
Brian, who listens to the pod, Brian Toll, was like, everyone was blaming Ari.
Yep.
Basically,
everyone thought it was a big FU on the way out.
Yeah, it was his send off.
Yeah. Seems like something he'd do.
Yeah,
he's a spiteful guy, so yeah.
Sabotage on the way out.
He is.
But Josh is admitting blame here.
Yep, that was a not graceful start for me, and we took it as a lesson, and we're gonna have better audio.
Before we started recording, and I respect the response. I was just like, "Hey, how do we make sure today's episode has not the audio problem we did last time?" And he said, "It's just on me, ungraceful start. No excuses." I like that.
Yeah.
No thoughts and prayers.
Yeah,
you don't see that a lot with the youth.
You never see that.
I'm 32, so I'm a little bit older than Ari.
Okay, that's why. Yeah.
Mature.
In your 20s, you don't do that.
Yeah, in 20s, you blame someone else.
In 20s, you blame Ari. He's not here. He's never going to listen to the pod again.
Yeah,
it's Ari's fault.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. That guy was an idiot.
Okay, well, round 2.
Yeah.
We'll get it right this time. And we'll make everything right in the world.
Absolutely.
Anything we need to catch up on? I've missed a couple episodes. I apologize. Is there anything anything we need to chat about before we talk about the news?
What do we got?
I don't know. Dee's told the whole city and I have a nose job.
Yes.
Do you have a nose job?
Yeah.
That was the whole episode last podcast. You missed it.
Why'd you go with that?
I don't have a nose job. I had a deviated septum and it fixed my breathing. And there was no cosmetic surgery.
It's funny how that's like the hide for, like, I have a severely deviated septum as well. And at some point I'd like to get it fixed because I heard it's great.
Oh, it's life-changing. You should listen to the last pod. I explained the whole operation.
Okay, I'll listen
and
to it.
everything.
But it's funny how a deviated septum is like the cover up for a nose job.
Yeah.
It was, but we should have asked Deepa because I actually don't think insurance covers deviated septums because it's been abused so much.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong. Someone's going to correct me, but I feel like I've heard that.
Okay.
But even I feel like people like, not even just celebrities, I feel like even normal people go get a little shape up on the nose and say, oh yeah, I had a deviated septum. Like, I feel like that's the cover.
The thing that I actually meant to mention on the last pod so we could just tie a bow on it is the number of people that I've talked to post having it done, that have had it done, that don't talk about it is shocking.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you could improve someone's life and their breathing and their quality of life. Why is everyone hiding this stuff?
Oh, you're talking about deviated septum?
Yeah.
Oh, why would you hide that? I thought you meant a nose job.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's everything in life that is, say, a nose job, or even like, I remember when someone in our neighborhood got robbed in our old office. I'm talking 15 years ago.
Yep. I know exactly what you're about to say. Yep.
And we got robbed. So then I went into all the neighbors and say, we just got robbed. I'm just letting you know. And the guy goes, oh, we got robbed a few months ago. I'm like, why the fuck didn't you tell us?
Yeah.
Like, there's just this weird notion of like...
Gatekeeping is what they call it.
Do you think it's gatekeeping?
It's embarrassment. It's embarrassment. I think it is because, like, obviously, like, you're embarrassed. You got a nose job and it took you a while to finally come clean.
How was I embarrassed? I told you the day of.
I'm kidding.
But guys, a deviated septum
is
not plastic surgery. I just don't, I mean, maybe technically
I think it's, but
it's
even like getting robbed, right? Like, no one wants to talk about getting robbed. Obviously, I did.
It's honestly one of the reasons why I'm so public about, like, Maverick's journey with epilepsy. Like, hey, maybe we can help someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not embarrassed. Why are you embarrassed with something you're born with?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is strange because getting robbed, I wouldn't be embarrassed. Like, if your house or office or like whatever got robbed, even if I got robbed at gunpoint outside of the office while recording an episode, I'd tell everyone, hey, don't fucking go on Wilshire.
Honestly, I think that's one of the best things about the podcast, that we're all pretty forthright with what's going on our lives. Like,
yeah.
And maybe someone won't be embarrassed about fixing breathing.
Yeah, that's true. I was lucky. You know, I embarrassed myself early in front of a lot of people. So now at this point, you know, it can't get any worse.
Yeah.
But it is fascinating.
The other thing I was going to ask you guys is when we talk about not gatekeeping is what are you guys seeing, you know, in your friend groups and stuff with this COVID resurgence? Seems like a lot of people have COVID.
COVID is definitely back. It's interesting how many people are getting tested. I think that's the more fascinating thing about it.
I know.
Like, I mean, I was sick over the weekend.
That means you had COVID.
I 100% did not get tested.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
why
hear
even
my
bother?
voice.
Yeah.
I probably should be tested.
Yeah.
You got a big trip coming up. You're not going to get tested and ruin your trip.
Yeah, at this point, why bother?
But your boy, Joe, Sleepy, he's got a vaccine he's pushing. You going to go get that?
I think I've survived. I haven't been hospitalized.
You got to get it, dude. You're going to get kicked out of the fucking group.
That's your guy. If you want to push Taylor Swift, Barbie, you need to get fucking jabbed.
If Taylor Swift gets jabbed publicly, I'll go get it.
She'll tell everyone she got publicly jabbed.
You got to get jabbed, man. You're not going to be invited to the meetings or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
I don't know where the liberal elites meet, but I know you better be vaccinated.
If you saw, like, just to talk about how ridiculous the country is at the moment, like on the other side of the spectrum, Alex Jones started a thing that he has friends high up in the blah, blah, blah. You know, remember we all had the uncle at the Pentagon.
Yeah, the Pentagon.
And they have alerted him that we're going back to full lockdown, full COVID protocol in the fall. And everyone beware because, you know, we're back. Mask mandates.
Yeah, what's interesting is I think the LA Times had a comment from a city official that said
Barbara Fair, the woman that
talking about masks, particularly masks. I mean, that is going to be, even in Los Angeles,
it'll be a revolution.
I mean,
I think people would probably get beat up. Like, I think there would be fights over, like, I don't know, either you see someone wearing a mask and you bully them, see someone not wearing a mask and there's a fight. I think it's like so ridiculous to even consider making masks mandatory on any level. I think it would be outrage. Complete mayhem.
And look, COVID is clearly spreading again. I mean, no one's denying that. It's happening. But I agree. Like,
I think this is the problem with the groups that are kind of overreacting right now. Like, back in 2020, when people were dying at a death rate that was pretty significant and being hospitalized, that just isn't the case today. So you don't need to have that same reaction that we had in March of 2020. Yeah. I had friends hospitalized in March of 2020. We'd heard so many people that were like either died or near death. Yeah. That's just not the case now. So you kind of have to evolve. And if I get invited to those meetings that you're talking about, I'll voice that opinion. Yeah. Like, it was okay to panic then, but we don't need to panic now.
Yeah. Please let them know in the meetings.
Yeah, they're not going to be happy with you in the next meeting. That's an alt-right stance.
Not in that community, yes, it's an alt-right stance. Common sense in most conversations is not.
But you guys call me wokey woke, but I have the common sense to not panic right now.
That's true. I mean,
because you know why? This particular one inconveniences you. That is why
your members tent woke. You're not.
You know,
in the
if you
woke.
were tested positive for COVID today, it could potentially fuck up your weekend.
No, I'll disagree because I told you a school situation. I'm not getting in details because I don't want to get banned from any school. Yeah, and I was just like, this isn't the right logic.
Yeah, but
that was 2 weeks ago.
I agree, and you now know the severity of how, particularly in our state, they take COVID seriously. So yes, in this instance, it's not personally beneficial.
I think to Dee's point, you have such a good social life that the prospect of shutting that down is off the table. So you're down with all the other rules except for anything.
No, but I also have, I mean, I made a comment to my mom over the weekend, or maybe it was last weekend, and she's like, oh, so you think Dee's alt-right? What about you?
Wow. Yeah, you're definitely on the fence. You definitely you'd be the most disruptive one at the meeting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But, in our group,
It was and the conversation, the context was about COVID and my views.
Well, it's going to be great for content.
I'm curious to see, specifically in schools, how they're going to handle this, because everyone went back to school in the last 2 weeks in California. So I think we're this third week of LAUSD. Obviously, kids are definitely getting sick already.
I mean, Dee and I have kids. Everyone's sick all the time.
I know, but we saw
when you're in school. You're in school with 30 kids putting feet and hands in their mouth and sand and throwing shit, licking balls. Like, everyone's gonna get sick.
Who's licking balls? What school are you going to?
Not balls.
Like, Jesus Christ, Jeffrey Epstein, the principal.
I want to bring up the name of the school, but I think you should.
Epstein High.
The balls kids play with, not the balls of the anatomic.
They play with them too. We got it.
Not just licking.
Anatomically,
not just licking.
First, they play with them. I think the thing is, it is perfectly ripe for content. So there's going to be content on the right about like, oh my God, the masks are back. And then there's going to be content on the left about the blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just, I feel like this is definitely going to become a thing, even though day-to-day people don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about some news. Databricks, the enterprise software company, is in talks to raise a new round at a $43 billion valuation. What do we think?
So Databricks is one of those companies where we clearly have no idea what they do.
Correct.
Another one of those, huh?
Yeah. 2 years ago, they raised at $38 billion.
Which was peak.
Peak.
So the takeaway is they had a peak 2021 fuckery valuation, and their 2023 valuation is up. So granted, we can't explain the business.
Yep.
But they must be doing something right, because that $38 billion was massively inflated, and they're still able to raise a higher round from the last one. And then I think we'll all have a little fun with this. So on the last pod, or maybe 2 pods ago, we were talking about the Instacart IPO and how their Snowflake spend fell off dramatically. And the Databricks engineers and the Snowflake engineers have been on a Twitter beef.
Wow.
Saying like, oh, we got you bitches. Like, Databricks is taking the business away from Snowflake. And everyone's deleting posts, but it's like documented in like a few articles. They're on Reddit talking shit to each other, like the Snowflake engineers and the Databricks engineers, saying like, oh yeah, the reason why your spend is down is because it's going to Databricks.
Holy
that was
shit.
Fun.
Wow.
The world's safest beef.
The world's safest beef.
What's interesting is like I've been a big screaming about this CoreWeave company, and the internet has now taken this whole CoreWeave Nvidia.
Did you post that on TikTok? I feel like that was a pretty big moment for you. You were pretty early on that. You went pretty hard.
I probably started the movement. There's actually a woman I follow on Twitter that first posted that, hey, this earnings beat looks interesting. Who is this CoreWeave? We've never heard of them. And then now she keeps digging deeper and deeper and like, who are CoreWeave's customers? Because if they're doing all billions of dollars, and there was a secondary offering of CoreWeave, $500 million of secondary offering. Right now you can buy, the employees and founders are dumping stock. They're also going out at market to raise at an $8 billion valuation. There's some fuckery going on here. I'm not calling it fraud, but fuckery.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you see 500 million of secondary with a company that hasn't proven
the new company, they were doing like Web3 like 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely, people need to like just look at what happened in 2021 and learn their lessons. When Hopin, the guy took 200 million, was $8 billion company, now it's zero. Hey, maybe you should probably, see some signal, pattern matching.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Yeah. It's also because we know how connected they are.
This all happened within 2 years.
Yeah.
We're 2 years removed of peak fuckery.
It's also that, like, wasn't there a weird connection that you said where, like, BlackRock owns a bunch of blah, 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 and then this went to that? Like, this just seems like
Yes.
some manipulation here.
Yeah. Basically, like they, what people are accusing is that, like CoreWeave and Nvidia and BlackRock are all in cahoots to like build, just to juice everyone's revenue, because if Nvidia gets more revenue, the stock goes up. If it appears that CoreWeave is doing so well, their valuation goes up. And they're all working together. I mean, great teamwork by CoreWeave, Nvidia, and BlackRock. This is like a true triangle teamwork to make sure everyone does well. But it is like some questionable practices happening here at a very large scale. Because like I know in like bullshit startup land, it's happening all the time. Like people are doing partnerships and they're trying to figure out how to help each other out.
Yeah, the way people book revenue and how they recognize it.
Yeah,
a lot of fraud.
Yeah, but this is a publicly traded, and this is arguably the most watched company on earth right now is Nvidia.
I would say Tesla used to be, now it's Nvidia.
Yeah, everyone's obsessed with this company.
Yep.
But to be fair, nothing could be happening, and everyone accused Tesla of all this fucking fraud. And now they're profitable and they're crushing it, basically own the market. So this all could be all just nonsense internet talk.
What about, like, why is there all this suspicion about NVIDIA's...
CoreWeave is the real problem. Like, what is this?
I don't think NVIDIA is the problem, because the demand is actually...
I know, but CoreWeave writing them a $2.5 billion order is kind of fishy.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I think the way people book revenue, if actually... I mean, I don't know. Do average people care? Do stock analysts care? The way people book revenue and actually recognize it and they move it forward. Like, there's a lot of shenanigans that are happening at the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah, like
I think they care when it's going down.
Yeah.
When it's going up, nobody asks any questions.
We should never have adjusted EBITDA. There should be EBITDA.
Yeah.
Why you can't just adjust it?
Why can't you just move it around a little?
It's kind of like if you like, the inflation data.
We should have adjusted inflation.
Well, they do. They have excluding energy and food. What
I'm sure
fuck else is there?
That inflation
energy
data,
and food excluded is the biggest joke.
That inflation data is so adjusted.
Oh yeah,
it's
like someone posted the unemployment filings for the last 12 months. Every month has been revised downward. Way more jobs were lost.
Right.
Adjust.
Everyone's adjusting.
Yeah, and we've seen all the defense contracting adjusted data. Like, how much money is just, no one knows where it's allocated to, what's being booked. And that's in the tunes of like hundreds of billions of dollars.
It's all adjusted. I think 99% of the information we receive is adjusted.
Yeah.
Especially from the government.
You just need a good CFO that can talk the talk.
I think that it is very much like when I would read like earnings reports, when I was just like a geek about those things, the way they can communicate like a catastrophic quarter and make the stock pop is unbelievable.
Yeah. Adjust.
Yes. This is why you go to these schools.
Yeah. They teach you how to adjust.
I mean, Harvard probably you can get a degree in adjusting.
I think there's probably classes
called Harvard. You get a master's in adjusting. MBA, Masters of Business Adjusting.
So it's funny what we're talking about. I have a close friend who was a CFO of a publicly traded company. And he said the job of the CFO isn't to worry about the numbers. It's about delivering the message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And delivering a hot message.
Hot message. Adjust.
Sales are down 30%. Margins are getting crushed. But we are very optimistic about our future.
I mean, it's how Adam Newman, Travis Kalanick, all these guys were able to raise hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, I mean, to your point, like Databricks raising at a higher valuation, I'm sure they're telling this machine learning AI story that's getting out there. But like the thing that's so fascinating to me, which kind of tells you that like the fundraising environment is already like picking up steam again, especially if any of these companies go public. $43 billion, I think, is bigger than like Snowflake.
Let's just look. But 43 billion is a large number. Most publicly traded companies aren't worth $43 billion.
Yeah, that's my point. Like Snowflake is 51 billion. So you're assuming, basically you're betting that the numbers of Databricks, whoever invested it saw the numbers,
Yep.
is better than what Snowflake is. Because you're not investing for a 10% return.
No, you would think you're at least, it's an $80 to $100 billion company if you're taking the risk in a private market company.
Yeah.
Like
Because there's no liquidity.
That's how you're underwriting it.
Yeah.
No one's underwriting the $43 billion company to be 50.
Definitely not 50.
Yeah.
I'd say 80, 100 is probably too aggressive. I don't think they're underwriting it to that.
They have to.
But don't you think their
It's
story
because it's
says that they're that?
Because it's an outsized risk, because the 43 could be 20.
Yeah.
So you only do that if you think you can get that 2x.
So their numbers have to be better than Snowflake.
They're not, I'm sure.
So you don't
Their
think
story's better. That's what matters.
I
Their
think the
adjustments
story's
are
better. And it's also like the common thing when you don't have enough data on the company, no pun intended, with Databricks.
I mean, they should have tons of data.
You
They have enough
underwrite it.
bricks.
I've actually heard this guy talk, Ollie Goatsy.
You have
Yes.
thoughts on him.
Yeah,
You may not be able to share it.
I can't.
The lead brick. Is he the CEO of Databricks?
He's
He
the
is.
founder. He's
Mm.
like one of the most like revered CEOs in Silicon Valley. The way Ben Horowitz talks about him publicly.
I mean,
it's like
and
he's-
rightfully so. They've willed a $43 billion valuation.
He's got the story. He's an Iranian immigrant. I think they were persecuted, came here with nothing.
Yep.
And, he's got that whole,
That's $100
Part
billion
of the story.
story.
Yeah. Great story.
It's just funny to me how much, like how the line where you cross sort of like aggressive business tactics and fraud is a very thin line. Like that's how you get the
and if you
Elizabeth
can
Holmes
thread
and
that
the-
needle, you're a billionaire.
Yes, that is what billionaires do.
But
they
it's
thread
not
the
a
needle.
very solid line.
No.
I mean,
not at
Elon
all.
pushes the envelope all the time when it comes to this stuff.
Yep.
We know all of the largest companies in the world play this game really, really well. It's just, it's really how you deliver the message. It's absolutely correct.
That's also
Yeah, I
where
mean-
you get like Elizabeth Holmes and Nicola, and like they just played the game totally wrong. But in her mind, she thought she was just. I think in her mind, I genuinely believe she thought she was being a shrewd business person, and this is what they all do.
Yeah,
No,
so I
because-
think but Elizabeth Holmes's problem, like the biggest difference is that Elizabeth Holmes said her device did something it did not.
Yeah.
But whereas like, Databricks can go out in the market and their numbers could be terrible, but he can sell a story on why he is going to be worth $1 trillion.
Okay, so then what's the legal way of what Elizabeth Holmes did? Because Elizabeth Holmes falsified tests.
Yes.
Right? She knew the test didn't work. Or at least we believe that's why she's in jail.
Yeah.
That she knew the tests weren't working and it was working with a medical that has medical ramifications.
Yes.
Adam Newman knew his financials were bogus, but he was able to sell bogus financials. Adjusted EBITDA excluded rent. So how is that legal?
But that's not fraud. He
I
didn't
know, but
commit
I
fraud.
think both people, in my opinion, I don't know Elizabeth Holmes. I think both people use the strategy that, hey, let's inflate the truth. Reality will catch up.
Yep.
That's what I think the theory is, or like the principle.
And if
is like-
Elizabeth Holmes wasn't medically related product, she wouldn't be in jail.
Yeah. And I think in her mind, she genuinely thought, we will solve this. And whatever. This is what everyone does. They all lie and pretend and have fake sales to frickin' whatever company and book things and adjust EBITDA. And we're going to figure it out. And then I'm going to be a hero. I think she's an idiot, but I think that was like her. She was taking a note from what she had seen.
The real lesson is if you're going to play this game, just don't do it in the medical field. Just do it in regular business. And you won't go to jail. Because do you know how many fraudulent tech companies there've been that the founders have taken hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to secondary? And they're in Yellowstone Club and they're at their Tahoe house and they're in Ibiza.
Yeah.
And she's in jail.
And I will say, I respect it. I
But
think
that's
it's
the
an
difference
art.
is like Adam Newman presented his financials and investors decided to believe a different story. That's very different. Look, everyone goes publicly traded companies. They report adjusted EBITDA. The investing market says, you know what? That adjustment I'm okay with. Some adjustments I don't like. This one I'm okay with. But
it also depends on the story. Like they'll be blind to willfully blind to some adjustments if the story's good enough. And I think and I want to be clear. I don't think Elizabeth Holmes. I'm not saying Elizabeth Holmes like, oh, she should be free. She didn't do anything. She's an idiot, and she doesn't know how to play the game, and she went into fraud land. But I think that in her mind, she was probably thinking, this is what all the billionaires do. Yeah. You tell a great story, reality will catch up.
Eventually,
eventually you figure out the machine.
Yeah, because by the way, maybe if she had 2 more years, the stupid machine would have worked.
Maybe.
No, because
it sounds like fundamentally it wasn't doable, and people should have sniffed that out. But like she thought it was, I'm sure.
So what Vivek Ramaswamy made his money off of, it's legal.
Yeah.
Right? He had a phase 2 drug for Alzheimer's that was phase 2 approved, that was approved by his mom.
Yeah.
And went public, sold it for a lot of money. Phase 3 immediately failed, but he made his money, and that was totally legal.
Yeah. And that was in the public traded market.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good president.
Sounds like people say he doesn't have experience. That sounds like experience.
That sounds to me like he knows how to play the game perfectly. Yeah, I agree. But
it is just discouraging because now like it's so easy to access the information to all these different stories. Like you could go on Twitter, you could go on YouTube, and you discover how much chicanery there really is in big business. And it's got to be discouraging for like a lot of people that are just working a regular job.
I actually, that's why I think one of the downfalls of the internet is it actually brought too much transparency.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, in the movies, like all these old school movies, and we've talked about this, where the CIA is trying to protect America. We don't want Joe Public to know about the moon landing and the war in what's happening in Mexico and the war on drugs. We want to just protect them from all this. And I used to be like, when I watched that, I'm like, who fucking cares? Like, but now more and more, I actually appreciate that more. Like, I think,
it's how we always say life with the 4 channels. Yeah. NBC, Fox, CBS, ABC.
Part of being an American, you get to just be blissfully ignorant.
Yes, I actually think for purposes of happiness and quality of life, blissfully ignorant is way better than access to I actually think the biggest, it impacts children the most, especially like teenage children who, if you live in LA or you live in Colorado or you live in Texas and you're not happy with your situation, and then you see other kids in another city or another state living the same age as you, looks like you, and living a completely different life than you, and you're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like you're the blissfully ignorant. If you think about even when we grew up in the Valley, if we saw like a 17-year-old kid with a BMW, we'd be like, oh shit, man, their family's rich. Good for them.
Yeah.
We never were like, oh, we need a BMW.
Yeah.
We were just like, that's not our access. We don't get to do that.
Because 90% of what you saw was like Camrys and Corollas.
Right.
Yeah.
And as opposed to social media, every 16-year-old, it looks like, has a Lamborghini.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you're like, I have a fucking BMW, I'm broke. It's just it's a numbers game of what you think.
But I can tell you, like, very honestly, when I grew up, I didn't have any jealousy of the kid with the BMW. It was like, good for him. Their family can buy them a BMW.
Yeah, I had a friend with a Ford Explorer, and I was like, damn, man, one day
as long as you can pick me up.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to like all this access to information, and we're talking about the financial markets, that, like someone uncovered this, right? That this potentially could be an issue with Nvidia and CoreWeave. It may not be, but the mere fact that there's a seed of doubt, I'm sure is driving someone crazy right now.
Not only that, but like it's also teaching people that that's the way. Like, look, when we talk about the line between fraud and business, we're kind of half joking, half not, right? I would still say, with everything I know, the way that I choose to grow and run a business is He's honest. I'm not playing any lines of fraud or whatever.
Yep.
And I do think that that's still like the right motivation for most people. There's a lot of people that now are just saying like you watch the Adam Newman movie and documentary and you're like, okay, that's my inspiration.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
How are you going to tell me what he did was wrong?
I would 100% think Adam Newman becomes a bigger legend amongst people that hear the story than like, oh, maybe there were some, things he shouldn't have done. And I would argue SBF probably similar. That people that don't understand the level of fraud, they're like, man, he almost got away with it.
Well,
right?
Yeah, they're like legal robbers. It's like everyone has a fantasy
I think Adam
of
Newman's
being like
different. Yeah, I think Adam Newman, he's a billionaire and he's living his life, and the top VC firm in the world gave him more money. Mm-hmm. So like, I think Adam Newman is like the American success story for the last decade for the youth. I really do. I mean, the guy got to leave. By the way, I don't think it's just for the youth. I think for the world.
He got to be a billionaire, leave, not even have a job to do anymore, and then start a new thing and raise more money. How is that not the ultimate success?
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So if you're a kid, or you're even, like you said, not necessarily a kid, but why wouldn't you follow that blueprint?
Yeah.
What are you going to follow? Fucking Bob Iger trying to turn Disney around? Fuck off.
Yeah, which you can't even, by the way, I can't even watch Disney.
Yeah, I'm sick
That's
of
like, do
Disney.
I want to be a TikToker or do I want to be fucking LeBron James? Let me be Aiden Ross. Let me be Adam Newman. Why am I going to be
Aiden Ross making $40 million a year?
Yeah. And for like a kid starting a business, I mean, like, Adam Newman's, I guess, the role model, right?
Walk away with $2 billion in cash, private planes, and then raise.
That's why I think it's all negative. You're either really jaded and bitter because of the Adam Newman story, or you're inspired by him. I don't know which one's worse, but either way.
What sucks? What sucks is like a guy like Zuck, who actually created so much value. He's actually still working, and he's the villain.
Yeah. Well, now that he fights, he's
maybe the fighting changed. We talked about that. We actually predicted that last summer. It was actually 1 year ago when he was on Joe Rogan. I was like, oh, this is going to change his image.
Yeah.
You're right. Because think about it. He was the ultimate hero after Social Network. And that movie was actually kind of made out to make him look questionable.
Right? Yeah.
But around that time, he was like, okay, everyone wants to be Zuck.
I think the key, the thing that people, I think where it always backfires, like media and entertainment wants to paint people as a villain, and unfortunately it usually backfires. The Donald Trump
I think the media wants the arc. So they want to treat you like a hero, because Zuck was a hero when he was the 21-year-old whiz kid that created Facebook, and then he was the villain. Then they wanted to bring him down, and now that he fights jiu-jitsu,
but that's not the media bringing him back, that's the people bringing him back. It's
social media.
It's completely social media bringing him back. The same thing with Donald Trump. If there was no social media and Donald Trump got arrested, he'd be toast. Toast.
Or even better, if they didn't arrest him and there was no social media, we weren't even talking about Donald Trump for so long.
Yeah. And I think like it almost becomes like you start seeing these people be villainized, and then there's a cohort of people that are like, kind of cool. I kind of like him. Like, I'm sure, like, when you watch We Crashed, there's a lot of endearing qualities about Adam Newman.
And it also kind of lends to the fact that everyone's moral compass is pretty compromised.
Yeah.
Because if everyone thinks the Adam Newman story is the right way to make money, which I think a lot of people do, and I'm not judging you for thinking like, hey, I would love $2 billion. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like,
you'll adjust some EBITDA.
I'll adjust some rent. Reduce that, get rid of the rent. And I think humans are inherently just greedy. Yeah. We all are. And it's easy to kind of look the other way when things, and I'm not claiming to be a saint, but I'm just saying it's natural.
It's also like a strange thing with money, because especially right now, we live in a time when like being rich is sort of looked down upon, but everyone wants to be rich. And I think like Adam Newman is kind of a story of like a vigilante a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he he had his dream, he got out, he's a billionaire, he walks around with no shoes on, he doesn't give a fuck. I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
But when you look at like old rich dude in a board meeting, you're like, that's the problem.
I'm curious to see if you did like a poll that was anonymous, if that's actually the case. Like majority of people are in favor of Adam Neumann. I actually don't think they are.
I would love to do that poll, but if I had to bet, I would say the majority of non-business people, like everyday people, it's probably on the side of likable.
Yeah, basically.
But I don't know. That's just my guess.
I think the actual question is, would you rather have Adam's Neumann outcome today, given the story that happened?
Or what?
I mean, probably the answer is yes.
Everyone's going to say yes.
I mean, it's an amazing, for him.
Yeah, of course. We know the outcome.
Better?
Yeah.
The only thing better is WeWork became everything he hoped. He's worth $40 billion instead. But he's running the company. I mean, I don't know. Walking around Hawaii barefoot with a couple billion and a war chest for your new idea. Pretty solid.
Having the most competent investors in the world still backing you.
Yeah.
Pretty good life. Fuck it. I'm inspired.
Red, take it out.
Take it out. I gotta hop off. I'm gonna adjust some EBITDA real quick.
You gotta revise your cost of goods. There's no cost.
Holy shit,
what are you talking about?
Man.
Cost of goods.
Games are free. On the topic, we kind of mentioned Trump. So on that topic, Jared Kushner. So Jared Kushner famously, raised $2 billion from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund for his private equity fund Affinity. That got a lot of news, for obvious reasons. Is he using his relationships from the White House to do personal business? I mean, yeah, obviously. But anyway, he's back in the news because he has done his first Israeli deal. Now, is this a big deal because of the Saudi Arabia-Israeli connection? Fill me in on this.
I think the real story here is that when you have corruption in plain sight, no one cares.
What are you calling the corruption?
The corruption is he was a senior advisor in the White House, had deep ties with Saudi Arabia. They were making policy with Saudi Arabia while he was in office, and he was the conduit. The messages have leaked while they were in office. Whatever policies and agreements, arms deals, purchasing of military equipment that were done, he leaves office and he gets $2 billion from that party.
Yep, I agree. And I just wanted you to clarify. Of course, I have to ask the question. Do you think Hunter Biden, is that corruption?
So the problem is the variance in this, but similar to like an Adam Neumann versus Elizabeth Holmes, is Hunter Biden did his dealings while his father was the vice president. Jared Kushner, it's not like Jared Kushner, I'm sure, whatever, made deals, but it happened out of office when his dad had left or his father-in-law had left. And the world views that differently. That's the difference.
But I'm also, Anand, just answer the question. Do you see the Hunter thing as...
Oh, yeah. No, the Hunter Biden thing is obviously...
Yeah, they're literally just...
Because I agree...
Wokey woke's not like...
Yeah, you're not getting invited to the meeting, dude. Your key's not going to work. And I will say, at least I'll just say my part is, I don't even want to get into like who's worse. I don't know. It's the fact that, yeah, it's shady, but then also the current guy did it, and then it's just fucking crazy. Everyone's corrupt.
It's just like, I don't understand how like common sense doesn't prevail. Like, I know we all watch Painkiller. Like, how does the guy that is in the FDA that approves OxyContin gets a job with Purdue Pharma 1 year later?
Yeah.
How is that legal?
Yeah, it happens all day.
I know. I mean, it happens with every politician, both sides. Democrats, Republicans, they leave, they get on the private equity board circuit.
It's just, it's similar to like the financial markets. You have to know how to play the game and deliver the message.
If you were to like think about how big I think our annual budget in the government's $2 trillion. If you paid whoever the head of the FDA are that are approving all these drugs, you pay them $5 million a year. There's no bullshit going on. Yeah. They're going to give you the objective view from their medical expertise.
I've been saying this on local politicians. The mayor of LA should get paid $10 million.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's a massive economy.
Yeah, and the governor of California, and like that way.
The governor, California is the fifth biggest, or is it, whatever, top 10 biggest economy in the world.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't get,
$250K.
The thing that I don't get is everyone. So the pushback to that is like, no, they're public servants. They blah blah blah. Right? I get it. And how about this? If you give them money, you're going to incentivize the wrong people, and they're going to do it for the money, not for the whatever. Now, I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But here's the point I want to point out: is either way, these idiots are spending money. So if you're an incompetent leader, you're just blowing through money, especially like local politicians. What you're doing for the homeless situation, what you're doing for the budgets for those things are insane. It's just that they have no checks and balances of if any results are actually happening. So either way, the money's getting spent. So why not spend a little more on the actual position, hold them accountable, and then you'll be able to spend way less on the actual implementation of the. Like, it makes no sense to me. It's so stupid. Also, we can say they're public servants? That's so dumb.
Like, you think about the FDA, right? They approve drugs and food. What are two things that everyone in America consume every day?
Yeah.
Food and probably some sort of drug, regardless of their condition or whatever. And even Advil or whatever, Claritin.
Yeah.
How is that not taken more seriously? Because if you were to pay someone in the FDA $5 million, $8 million, whatever the number is, you're going to get the most qualified doctor.
No, but you know what? We have to make sure we meet all diversity requirements also. Sorry.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, we can't hire the most qualified person.
But if you spend $5 to $8 million and you include diversity, you'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
No, but don't you agree with that logic?
So then basically all the positions should just be Indians.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All the positions should be paid.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Because, I mean, I take it for, like, if you watch Painkillers, one guy that effectively cost hundreds of thousands of deaths in America and
became very wealthy doing it.
And he did it for like $400K a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Was his fucking job at Purdue. It wasn't like, here's a $50 million package.
And the number of families that were affected are in the millions.
And think about
the drag on society, and like, think about how many cops we used, how many hospitals, beds were used. It's tens of billions.
Yeah.
But think about the resources. I mean, the chain reaction of work that was missed, families that were fucked up, kids that will now be fucked up because their parents left early, like the chain reaction is so insane. And really, that all happened for $400,000 a year. So what you're telling me is you could have just paid this guy $500,000 a year and you would have avoided all that.
No, so I think it's not $500,000. I literally think and I'll give you the comp for this and why I think it actually, the best comp I've seen for where the position is paid equivalent to the importance of the job. It's probably one of the only places where I've actually seen like correlation. NFL. Roger Goodell is paid a fuckload of money.
Yep.
What is it? 20, 40,
50, 60.
$60 million. Yep. And he has one interest only, which is the league. No other interest.
He's hired by the owners.
Hired by the owners.
So owners need their franchise values to appreciate.
Yes.
And they need league revenue to keep increasing.
Yes. And so their interests are aligned, right? And so they're like, you know what, Roger? We don't want you to like be siding with anybody else in this equation.
Yep.
So here's all the money you need. If we did that in a lot of these positions, like, defense contracting and all these types of things.
Cure so much.
Whoever the person that hands out defense contracts, pay them $50 million a year. I'm okay with that. We know billions are getting pillaged in defense contracts.
Like, we know that, and we know that if you had the smartest people in these positions, you wouldn't have the waste we have.
Yeah.
Like Deepak, who was on the pod, he's brilliant. If he was paid $10 million a year to approve drugs, guess what? Oxy's not getting approved.
Yeah.
No chance.
And you couldn't buy his influence.
Not even 10 million a year. That's the crazy thing is Purdue, with all the money in the world, they made billions off of that approval. And they got that all for $400,000 a year. That is the best deal they've ever done. Think about that.
I heard Peter Berg on Rogan. They said they think the family's worth like 15 to 20 billion.
So you made 15 to 20 billion by paying
I don't think
one person.
I know, but
I'm just saying for Purdue. I'm saying the businesses
I know,
are
the point is that like I think it has to be an amount of money that allows you to think freely. That is what I think really matters.
So what would you recommend? Are you saying like $1 million a year? Are you saying way more? What are you saying?
like for something like FDA, if there's a board that approves, they should be uncorruptible. What dollar amount is that they have to get paid that makes them uncorruptible?
Well, and also there should be a law that you can never be hired by a private corporation in the same genre that you're in charge of approving.
But
so anytime
you have to incentivize with the money.
Yeah. So
you're not going to get the talented people.
Here's $2 million a year. So you have plenty. You don't need to complain that, I needed a job. And one of the things you have to sign is that you can never be employed by someone in business that you currently touch.
Yeah. But like, think about it. How many people go into politics, leave, enter the private sector, and make more money than they could ever imagine?
I can't imagine what Paul Ryan's making right now.
Paul Ryan, Obama, Clinton, Bush, everybody, Dick Cheney, every one of these people made so much money. So yeah, of course you're going to throw some favors along the way. Hey, don't worry, BlackRock got you on the way back. It's like, but we don't like pay. You have to pay, and this is why people it'll never happen. You have to be comfortable with someone making $50 million that works for the U.S. government.
I agree.
They should.
And the thing is the NFL has come to that conclusion that, you know what? We're all making money hand over fist. This guy has our back.
You can make the argument he's underpaid at 50 to 60 million.
Yeah, but his lifestyle is so...
Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, because each NFL franchise has probably appreciated 2 to 3 billion in the last decade.
Yeah, they were not worth
But
$1 billion.
Who's someone in government that you would pay 50 million? Just give me a name.
I think whoever hands out defense contracts, all the people involved with that, I would pay them $50 million.
Because think about how many trillions
were spent on the war.
Yeah.
On the war. How many?
So here's my point. Is we are okay. We sleep well at night knowing that Aiden Ross makes close to that. And the guy approving defense contracts that fucking fuels wars and invasions and whatever,
and steals money out of our citizens,
because that's what's right, because he's a public servant.
Yeah.
And then he goes to work at Raytheon, and we don't care. We're just like, tax the rich.
The United States spends $766 billion annually on defense.
So the CEO of that should get 50 million. Yeah. You should give him if he cuts it down.
No, it's 100 million. That's what do you think Satya makes?
Yeah.
He makes probably 100 million a year.
Yeah. Give him 100 million and give him a bonus based on.
He's executing on all cylinders.
Yes. What's
give him a
interesting
bonus package incentivized by
what do you think Jensen's making at Nvidia?
He's making $1 billion this year.
It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. And then the thing is, we do it so that we sleep well at night and say they're not getting rich. They're just doing it for the public good. But then they go get rich anyway.
Yeah.
And
but
we ignore that.
It's like we talk about how cheap it is to get these guys on your side. So whoever these people in defense, you take them to Lowry's, spend $1,000, get a nice
It's a little bit
more
than that. That's like 40 years ago. You're doing
okay, fine.
You're going to excess. You're getting a table hookers. It's like a lot. It's a lot more expensive.
Fine. It's $25K.
No, it's in the six figures.
6 figures, you get a $100 billion contract.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then you blackmail them because you have the pictures.
Yep.
It's the whole thing.
You give them the coke, the girls, the Molly.
And you go, look, I got all this on camera. It looks like I'm getting this contract.
Yep.
I mean, do you understand? In the movie Painkiller, they take the guy to a hotel room. They lock in there for 4 days.
Yeah.
When they leave, the drug is approved. Think about that as a single business move. We
after being denied for years, right?
Yep.
He
But with
kept
one
denying
move,
it.
with $400,000 a year and 4 days in a hotel room, you unlocked billions in revenue.
Yeah.
But we're over here like, no, don't pay him while he's at the FDA. He's a public servant.
I'm so comfortable with public officials that have enormous impact, be paid by performance, and get unimaginably wealthy.
Absolutely.
I think it'll inspire the smartest people in the world to want to be in public service.
100%. You're not. Think about. We all know. We each have like large networks of friends. I have 0 friends in public office, and they're all really smart.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
Yeah, 0. Nobody would ever even consider it. D fucking was in charge of like a park and a road for 2 months and was out. You can't.
That's a bad signal because I think
insane.
we're all of the age where you could be really impactful because you have enough experience. And you could actually like do things, and it's the same with honestly in medicine. University doctors are the ones doing the most cutting edge research on all various diseases. They're not paid shit.
Yeah.
Compared to a private doctor.
So what's interesting is we're a capitalist society.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this one segment, public service, which is arguably the most important part of why this country works, we're not incentivizing the people that take those jobs. It's fucking so stupid.
No, here's what's crazy.
Defense.
Yeah.
Here's what's crazy.
Politics,
we are incentivizing them to take those jobs. The system incentivizes them to take those jobs because of who they can benefit after. Because of what businesses they can benefit after. And so they are incentivized. That's why people still take those jobs, but you're incentivized for literally the opposite thing that you should be incentivized by. Like,
imagine if schools were bonuses were handed out to high schools based on graduation and entrance into jobs and colleges, and there was like a metric there. Oh, look, if you graduate 100% of your students and they pass like a basic level exam, you get an extra $1 million for your school, and it goes to the teachers. Every teacher gets an extra 25, 50K or something.
Guess what? Every teacher is going to be checking in with their kids at 5 p.m. Did you finish your homework?
Yes.
Yeah. And think about how much less you'd have to spend on fucking
prisons,
arresting people and fucking.
Yeah.
Oh. Like if I drove through Beverly, okay, let's just say in a fake world, California was just thriving, homeless situation, crime all down, just navigated perfectly through COVID. Gosh, taxes are lower. And I drive through Beverly Park and see Gavin Newsom's house. Fuck yeah, man. Good for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy.
I think we celebrate success in America better than anyone. We like, as much as there's jealousy, we also like, damn, that's dope. They did something.
Because his success makes so many other people successful.
Yeah, I think
it's funny because we like as a society, we look up to Elon, Zuck, name your next huge big tech founder, and they live these lavish lives because they earned their money and they're allowed to. Bezos, he's on. We're like, oh, that's so cool. He's on a $500 million yacht. Yeah. Why aren't we celebrating? If we had that same vision for public servants, you get so much better results.
It's just so crazy. And then the fact that it all comes down to tax the rich, is just.
Yeah, because instead Gavin has to hide that he's at French Laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the governor of a 7th biggest economy in the world. You should be at French Laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should come to you. Do whatever the fuck you want if you're doing a good job.
As long as shit's pumping.
Yeah, as long as you're.
Yeah.
It's so wild. Okay, well, that was fun. China, in a move that, like I said, I think we should be doing more stuff like this. It seems that China's very good at this. I don't think we are. China has banned iPhone use for government officials at work. I can only imagine over security, privacy concerns, because obviously it's a US-based company. I think it seems to make total sense. We, on the other hand, who knows? Biden probably has TikTok on his phone.
That'd be really good.
On his Huawei phone.
And the stock, was down 5% on that news, which is 5% of a almost $3 trillion company is, north of $100 billion on the news. So it is impactful. It is big news. It does then put the doubt in people's mind that can you grow your business in China anymore if the government is now going to start cracking these things down. So, goes back to like, they're very focused on what they want and they execute. We can't ban.
Yeah,
we can't ban guns. There's no chance for banning TikTok.
Yeah, think about it's obviously a very obvious move. I'm shocked it took them this long because if you do a Huawei phone, you get to track all your government officials. Why do you
Yeah.
want them on Apple with encrypted software?
Like, what are you doing, dude?
Just track them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't know, or maybe there's a reason why we're not concerned about it, but it just feels like we continue to miss the mark here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't we ban TikTok in a few states for government officials?
Yeah, but I just
Yeah, we did.
refuse
I
to
think, like,
believe it actually
Montana.
is like in effect.
Gavin's probably on TikTok dancing away.
For sure he is. Are you kidding? Okay. It is our Wednesday episode, so let's finish up with our winners, losers, and content. D, who's your biggest winner for the last week?
So, Wall Street Journal today released the top colleges according to their whatever standards there are. It was kind of really interesting, the rankings. So the top spot was Princeton, followed by MIT, Yale, Stanford, Columbia, Harvard, Penn, Amherst, Claremont McKenna, and Babson. The top public university was University of Florida.
What?
So,
No offense, Josh. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it is just absolutely
Because
mind-boggling.
it always used to be Virginia and Berkeley.
Yeah. So what's interesting is
For public.
yeah. So if you look at, but here's some interesting data.
This seems like Purdue
Princeton-
Pharma. Someone at Florida paid them
Yeah.
off, got the documentary
I like that
done.
idea.
Swamp King.
Swamp
Yep.
Kings.
But like you're looking at the average salaries of these students. So Princeton out of college is 82, MIT 94, Yale is 66, Stanford 79, Harvard 65, UPenn 85, Amherst, which is 8, is 51,000. You can't even pay for 2 months at Amherst with $51,000.
No.
I think the real interesting thing is even though this ranks Princeton, MIT, Yale, we as those schools haven't done a good job of like branding, in my opinion. Like, you know, like I think in the Northeast, like kids grow up and they want to go to Princeton and Yale.
Mhm.
Like it's definitely like it is one of the top schools that people talk about. In the West Coast, you don't hear like Princeton and Yale. You hear Stanford, obviously because of the West Coast school, Harvard, and you hear a lot of Penn. Like a lot of LA kids go to Penn.
Mm-hmm.
But Princeton and Yale are not like, I feel like they're like weak on branding. Like Harvard's in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, they have the Social Network. That helps.
And all the movies.
Yeah.
Think about
And
how
the
many.
merch. I wonder how much fucking
even,
merch there is
Matt
now.
Damon.
Goodwill Hunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harvard.
There's no Princeton or Yale movies.
There aren't.
Yeah.
Like if
I
I'm Netflix, I'm paying Netflix to do something about
You mean
my
if
college.
you're Princeton and Yale, you'd pay Netflix?
Yeah, sorry. If I'm one of these colleges, because like it is worth.
But just think about how upside down the math is. So you said like it was like 80 to 90K for the top 5 schools, roughly.
Yeah.
So after tax, effectively 50 grand a year.
Yeah.
You're out of pocket $250,000.
Mhm.
So you're underwater the first. Well, you can't even service that. You're probably underwater 15 years.
Yeah, but most likely the Harvard or Penn
It's getting
person,
paid for,
it's
by the
probably-
parents.
Not even that, but in 5 years they're making 10x.
Sure, but 5 years, maybe not. But like, you're not making 800,000 5 years out of college. The average person.
I mean, Citadel's paying summer interns
Yeah,
19,000 a month.
Did you see how many they hire?
How many?
Not many.
Well, they probably went to those schools.
But the math is still upside down for your average person that's attending any of these universities.
Yeah, that's any college.
I agree.
Yeah, of course. I say
At
any
least,
college.
at least this Princeton on your resume, long-term earning.
I
is
mean, you're
probably-
talking to Harvard Business School grads. None of them can get jobs.
None of them. They can. They're just not far from these salaries.
Which is wild because
Yeah.
they already probably have debt from the first 4 years.
Yeah,
Then they worked. Then they took loans out to go party for 2 years.
yeah. But their earning potential is very high.
Earning potential is high, but there is, real challenges.
I'm just interested in the ranking. I'm curious. Princeton. Do I even know anyone that went to Princeton?
I know one person.
And?
Very successful. Flow Space. He's raised a lot of money.
Okay.
Ben.
Okay, so Princeton. We know one Princeton. Okay.
I think you're right though, D. I think you got to pick a famous alum and like fund a movie about them.
Yeah.
You know
You
what
do.
I mean? Like, oh, they went to Princeton, like that being a part of it. Like those Harvard scenes in Social Network, just because I
Yeah.
was younger when that came out, were like, you know, it put it on a pedestal.
No, I agree. Like when you watch Social Network, even though I was so far removed from college, I was like, there's some magic that I missed out on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Harvard.
Not being able to.
Harvard.
Harvard. Okay, that's a good one. Anand, who's your winner?
My winner, it appears to be the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So LeBron just posted the Minister of Culture and Sport, and it's him, LeBron, Maverick Carter, just hanging out. Feel like it's signal of one of two things. I had the first opinion, like they're just going to give $1 billion to LeBron and Bronny and come play the way they're like paying everyone.
Yeah.
And then D had the opinion, which I think is probably the more accurate one, because LeBron's getting the Vegas franchise for NBA whenever he retires.
Yeah.
And maybe this is their way of getting Saudi money into backing that.
Yeah,
and
like
him in
I
the
think if
face.
Saudi Arabia just showed up and said we want to buy an NBA team, I think there'd be pushback. But if LeBron James showed up,
LeBron can get whatever he wants done with NBA.
yeah, so LeBron goes, "Hey, I want to do this in partnership with the Kingdom." That seems like a very realistic.
Yeah.
And I don't think the problem with like there's not like a basketball ecosystem in Saudi Arabia. Like maybe there is soccer. Well, who's gonna play against
Him and Bronny just have a showcase.
just dunking on fucking the shake all day? Like it just doesn't work.
They may just pay him to just play in the backyard. We just want to watch. The princess want to watch.
I think you can get an NBA team with him and still do that.
And it's just so fascinating because if you look at this minister of culture and governor in Saudi Arabia is clearly senior because every celebrity is posting. So it's the Saudi prince, LeBron and Maverick Carter. Everyone's saying my brothers, like some of the most famous people. Swiss Beats, my brothers.
Big family.
Everyone's saying they're my brothers.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be on the Saudis' good side
It's
now.
the greatest
It's so
rebrand in marketing history.
Unreal.
It's so crazy.
Unreal. We went from like people wanted to go to war with them to my brothers.
My brothers, David Grutman, who runs all the Miami stuff, like, love to see my brothers hanging out.
Yeah.
How's everyone brothers with this guy?
It's
The
a
guy's
huge
out.
family. I just,
family.
it's so crazy to me because also like LeBron is such an outspoken, like social justice, you know, it's just like,
It goes all out the window when the Kingdom comes.
It's so crazy. They turn
It's
that around
basically-
so quick.
It's adjusted EBITDA.
It's very adjusted.
Adjusted fucking reputation. When was Khashoggi? How long ago? 8 years?
Pre-pandemic, so 2018 probably.
That recent.
Isn't
I think
it?
it was longer, right?
Wow.
Let me Google it real quick.
I'm really curious because if it's only 5 years, that's pretty gnarly.
Quick turnaround.
Let's see, sorry.
I mean, you guys don't know how to Google?
Oh, yeah.
2018.
2018. I didn't know how to spell
That was
Khashoggi.
right.
2018.
That was right.
Damn.
Damn, that's wild.
That's from like the bottom of the depths. Like these guys fucking chop up journalists
American
to like,
journalists.
my brothers. That is
Every famous person's commenting on this post because they want the bag.
Wait till you get when I go out there and I get that post.
Oh, that's amazing. People are
Should I
funny,
just
man.
post? Should I just comment? My brothers, maybe group chat.
Yeah.
Gets a,
I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it right after I get off.
I'm gonna just superimpose myself in a picture with them.
Yeah,
Post it.
shit, man. Maybe they
there's
used to have
nothing
MTV
hotter
over
than the
there.
Middle East and global business.
And in temperature.
Yes, both.
Good point.
It's literally the hottest place on earth.
Yeah.
And with the franchise values increasing in American sports, there aren't that many people in America worth over $50 billion that could just buy a $7 billion team. Just they don't exist.
Yeah.
You can name them.
Yeah, maybe it's like the CoreWeave founder, the Databricks founder.
Elon.
So you have to expand the way you're looking at capital.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the sovereign funds.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you know how many princes could go buy an $8 billion team? More than one.
I mean, the whole family should get a team.
Why not?
We just need... I can't wait until Saudi flags are all over America.
It's coming.
I
man.
said they should buy San Francisco.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
Just make it Saudi.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
province.
they could flip that thing around. If they did that in 5 years, think about what they could do, how quick they could turn around San Francisco.
San Francisco could be popping by Christmas if the Saudis took it over.
Yes. My winner, we already talked about this, so I'll be quick. But when I was looking at my stuff, the thing that I kept seeing was I still got to give it to freaking Dylan Dennis, man. His rampage against Logan Paul has not stopped.
It's unrelenting.
And I just want to say,
I made Javier watch the video that leaked because I was like, I heard what was leaked.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to watch it. Javier, he's like, oh, it was really bad.
Yeah, I think this is probably the biggest mistake Logan Paul has ever made.
I agree. And I think look, those brothers are really smart, but even him and Jake bickering at each other, it seems like it's the first time where it doesn't seem calculated. Like everything else they've done is always like so programmatically done.
Yeah.
This feels like a miss.
It's a big miss. I think it's hard, man. I think it's hard to keep drumming up the circus a few times a year. You're going to have a misfire, but I think this was a terrible misfire.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Who's your loser, D?
Man, my loser is definitely California and specifically LA. The amount, obviously I talk to a lot of retailers. I talk to a lot of retailers that do business in California. There are like we're in discussions with retailers who are like counting their inventory to work with us. And they say, hey, we're a little delay. We're having a lot of smash and grabs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's wild. Everybody is getting fucking robbed.
Yeah. It's also just not getting I think it's happening way more than is in the media.
I think it's basically stopped being reported. And there's these new laws that are being proposed to make it even more laxed. What was the one that was circulating yesterday? Something in regards to if you attack someone stealing something, you will be punished.
Right. So they don't want the
retaliation.
Good Samaritan.
Yeah.
It's literally like someone's like, how could we destroy Los Angeles or California?
Yes.
Oh, what if we did these exact policies? I think it would probably go to complete shit.
Yeah, because like we're teetering on a very dangerous slope where like if these politicians locally do not make changes quickly, it's a banana republic. This is a fucking joke what's happening at these stores.
Yeah.
I mean, it's San
Francisco.
Francisco.
And the videos, it's like 20, 30 people at a time just stealing.
Yeah. I mean, these stores are going to start just they either will shut down because it doesn't make sense to do business here anymore, which is what happened in San Francisco.
Yep.
Or businesses just basically have to hire like their local mercenaries. Like, hey, on La Brea, we're going to go hire a private security to troll the streets.
But what are they allowed to do things that cops aren't? So Beverly Hills, if you earn Beverly Hills, it's riddled with private security now.
Yeah. And
everywhere.
They're still getting hit. You're stealing shit.
Yeah, that's true.
But I feel like it's calmed down. I mean, if you had like a 5 p.m. dinner at Frida on South Beverly Drive and on that street, there's just armed guards walking all day.
All day.
So what are they able to do? Do they have the license to make sure the guy can't run away off the smash and grab?
I think that
the cops
create
don't
fear. Potentially.
Determined.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because
I also think there's like if you have a gun, I don't think you can. Maybe they still can't like run and tackle someone like a cop could for robbing, but like if they held a gun, at someone, I think that they could defend. Like I think it's legal. Who the fuck knows in California? But I think it's legal if someone's pointing a gun at someone, you can shoot that person to preserve
Right.
life. So I think it just deters, like, okay, I have this gun. I was going to put it in this lady's face and steal all the jewelry, but like this guy's going to shoot me. Yeah. I think. Yeah, it's wild.
Crazy.
It's so nuts. It's just, what else gets me is like, it seems like extreme people keep getting kind of voted in and like supported, and like, it hasn't turned yet. Like the people haven't spoke.
So do you think
and
if you
turned or
polled
recalled or nothing?
in the who we voted in Los Angeles, it lends to believe this, but do you think a majority of people in Los Angeles, and call it broadly California, would say, hey, if someone were to steal $500 from Walgreens, we got to just let them go? Do you think that's the majority?
I think it might have been the majority like in 2020, but I don't think it is anymore, because now they've seen what it leads to. It's really easy to be like, yeah, who cares? But you don't see that quickly snowballs into 50 people running into a Gucci store and like trampling over
I would
women.
guess people, it's out of towners at this point that just show up to California and like, hey,
Why wouldn't you?
not?
It's a free for all.
That's what they're doing in the PPP stuff.
Yeah.
They just showed up.
Yeah.
Come get your $900
Same
a
people
stop.
are back.
They're back.
It's kind of like basically all the people that went from Web3 to AI.
Yeah.
It's the same people.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's the PPP fraudsters are now just coming here and organizing.
But it's a little physically more taxing than just stalking the mailman and getting your PPP check.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you though?
It's a little exercise. Dude, there was a TikTok video, I don't know if you saw, of like a POV of planning a flash mob stealing.
I saw
and
it.
he's
It
like,
was so good.
look, everybody, Jason, you got the Gucci. That's over $795. Just a friendly reminder.
$950 is the number. Right.
That's so good. Oh, man. Okay. Anand, who's your loser?
My loser is ESPN. So they still haven't come to deal with Charter, which is Spectrum, which is affecting me, D, a lot of different people in our friend group, and I think it's 15 million subscribers across the country.
Yeah.
So I have no access to ESPN. So my morning routine, I wake up, I do some exercise while First Take's on.
Yeah.
Can't do it anymore. US Open's on all day, all night. Can't watch that. College football all weekend. Couldn't watch that on ESPN. Monday Night Football starts in 5 days, and it won't be available for anyone who has Spectrum.
Yeah.
And they're holding on to this legacy business that they can keep extracting value from the cable companies. And the cable companies are just staring them in the face and saying like, hey, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good loser.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. I think this is
You're
going to happen a
declining
lot.
business, not accepting it. And you
Yeah.
have to restructure the way your business works.
Yeah.
It's similar to how brick and mortar retailers that were too slow to do e-commerce.
I'm full panic mode for the weekend.
You should be. It's not going to be solved.
For sports.
Yeah. The
Why don't
big
you guys
sports
can
weekend.
you do
then-
the app? Can you do the ESPN app or no?
But ESPN Plus doesn't have all the like. It's a good question. I do pay for ESPN Plus. I don't know.
I think you should check that out. I watch it for
But
fights and stuff, but I don't know how it is with like just watching.
it's also,
the UFC.
I think sports fans in general this year are going to be so disappointed. So YouTube has the NFL rights.
Yep.
And if you subscribe, our friend Mikey told us, if you subscribe to the NFL ticket on YouTube, and you likely probably are going to eliminate like your cable, you're watching YouTube. So you
You don't have cable.
don't have cable, or even if you do have cable, it blocks the NFL on Fox and CBS on Fox if it's a blackout. So if you can't watch it on YouTube TV, so you got to keep switching back and forth between YouTube and your regular TV if you want to watch both games. It's a disaster, and the latency is going to be so bad on YouTube because they're like 7 to 8 seconds delayed.
Yeah.
So fantasy and gambling are like the biggest driver of the NFL. It's going to be a situation where we see on our app a touchdown scored by whatever player you have, and you're like 8 seconds delayed while you're watching on TV. So it's going to ruin the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a clusterfuck. I mean, I feel like we're just in that period, right? Where like it's sorting itself out, hopefully, to like a new normal, but there's still a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Love it. What are we on, losers? I mean, I don't know. My loser is the Democrats. I mean, which I consider myself one, and I wish we were better. But like, I see all this Trump news and indictments, and oh my God, he's so guilty, and blah blah blah. And then it's like poll numbers are up. Like they're just like doing the best marketing campaign for this dude ever, and it makes total sense. And I wish they weren't so fucking bad at it. That's all.
Yep, agree with that.
That's what I got. Well, content. We're going into the weekend. Well, we will be in a couple days. What should everyone check out for the end of the week?
Well, I definitely can't watch anything because the only thing I care about is college football, and I don't have fucking ESPN, and all the big games are on ESPN this weekend. So fuck that.
Is Coach Prime on ESPN?
I'm sure now they will be. I think he's on Fox. I think
no, he's Fox. That's what I saw. That
all Colorado are Fox.
Yeah, because they leaned into
They have a Pac-12 deal, so at least Coach Prime is safe. So I can't watch that. And I mentioned this on the last episode, and I'm now making it like mandatory listening for everyone at Ghost. The Costco acquired podcast is just the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's very applicable to what we all do in retail. It's so good. It's just
I'll listen to it.
It has blown my mind. It's making me change the way I do business.
It's great.
Awesome. Okay, I just added it. Okay, love it. That's a good one. Anand?
I mean, the NFL is starting on Thursday. I think if you're an American citizen, you don't catch 1/4 of the NFL this weekend, you should lose your citizenship.
Okay, so you're saying deport.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1/4. You don't have to watch a whole game.
That's fair. Do
Very
your
comfortable
part.
with that.
Yeah, I agree. No complaints there. Mine, I don't know if you guys have watched this. Maybe you talked about it on one of the episodes I wasn't on. It's right up your guys' alley. Have you watched Winning Time on HBO?
It's the greatest show ever. The greatest show ever.
It's fraudulent, though.
No, it is absolutely real.
He embellished all the stories.
Oh, is that the first time that ever happened? What are you, new here? You're new in America?
Give me an example.
What are you, a fob?
They portray Jerry West as like a drunk in the show.
Yeah.
And
he really terribly. He had a couple cocktails.
I've seen him on the patio.
He didn't seem belligerent.
Pretty put together.
Doesn't mean he's not wasted.
That's your complaint, that they portrayed Jerry West as drinking too much?
I think they took a little creative liberty on portraying what was going on.
I think they underdid it. When they showed Magic's sex life, I think things in the locker room were much more ramped up.
Yeah. And probably crazy with drugs.
Even like the fights in the locker room or like the disagreements. I think it was probably through the roof.
Yeah.
How'd that come on your radar? Because it's been out for a while.
Season 2 just came out, so they started.
Season 2 just came out. It came up on my thing. I was like, oh, this is good. I haven't even heard of this. And then I started watching season 1.
The acting is unbelievable.
I watched 2 episodes and turned it off.
You want to know the really funny thing is
you really are an idiot for doing that because you're actually a Laker fan.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable show.
Yeah, I thought of you guys instantly because you guys grew up here. Like it was part of the. For me, it was still a little foreign, but it was still great.
No, it's just this is like it's inconvenient. Your team was it was a train wreck. They're a train wreck.
Yeah,
Anand doesn't want to believe that they were a mess.
I get it.
I like hearing the stories from people from that era, like kind of leak little rumors about what was going on then, and then you can use your own mind to.
Nah, just show me.
It's like.
Just
throw
it up
Show
there.
it to me and do it with Adrian Brody. Great.
Yeah, let Adrian show me. You know what's funny? Funny story is back in I don't know, the days when we were like riding hoverboards around and going to Hyde all the time. A kid that was with us all the time is freaking Devon Nixon, who's in the thing.
Yeah,
Norm Nixon's
kid.
He
used to hang out.
Yeah,
he was with us all the time.
I used to play basketball with him in the Valley.
No way.
And I remember being like, his dad is like an old Laker or something. I didn't know. I don't know shit about basketball. And then I looked at him like, that guy looks familiar. It's him.
It's funny because I played basketball with him at the YMCA in Porter Ranch when I was in high school.
Wow.
Every summer. And
he must be much younger.
He's around my age.
He's 40.
Okay. Oh,
yeah, so I'm turning 40.
Wow, he looks so young in this show.
Yeah.
So I used to play with him we just play pickup. And when I come home from college for the summer, I'd go every day and play, and he would be part of the group, and we'd all play. Fast forward maybe 10 years from then, we're at a party, and he recognizes me from playing in the Valley. Maybe it was 7 years after, whatever. But it's been a while. And I'm in this group of like a lot of our friends, AJ, J-Dub, like it's like that group of friends. And he beelines over to me to say hi. Very nice guy. And he goes, "This motherfucker can hoop.
Wow.
You look like you think just because he's an Indian kid that he can't hoop?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this is the validation."
For that.
Yeah, I would have paid like a cameo for that.
Yeah.
You should hit him up. You remember me?
He remembers me.
Remember I can
guarantee
hoop.
it.
He's Magic Johnson, right?
No, he's
In the
Norm.
show?
He's Norm Nixon. He plays his dad.
Oh, he's Norm Nixon. Okay, yeah.
Anyway, great show. I've, like I said,
But
bigger
getting
part of-
validated of my hoops career from a Lakers son was very nice.
Yeah,
in
you should
front of-
ask
in
him
the-
to
in
film
public.
that. You're probably
Amazing.
also the only Indian he's ever seen play basketball, and he's like, this guy's fucking good. I've never even seen this happen.
Oh my God.
You should have had that on video. It was great. I mean, like I said, I knew you guys would love it. Well, D, I guess you loved it on and not so much because it's so like LA legacy,
Yeah.
I'll give season 2 a shot.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
you should. You should watch the first season. It's really good. It's incredible.
It's
Good for
really,
your flight.
really good. Yeah.
Download it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay. All right. That's all we got. Any shout outs? No, right?
No shout outs.
I love it. Okay. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Great weekend. You heard Anand, watch a quarter of football or get the fuck out.
Yeah.
America.
Build that wall.
Build that wall. All right. See you guys later.